While the headlines focus on U.S. warships and Chinese patrols, a quieter alliance is taking shape. The Philippines and Taiwan are building an informal but strategic relationship to counter Beijing's growing maritime aggression. Geography is destiny. Northern Luzon and southern Taiwan are separated by just over 200 kilometers. With China aggressively claiming waters between them, the Philippines and Taiwan now share more than just proximity. They share a threat. According to defense analysts, both sides have begun low-profile intelligence sharing. Information on Chinese ship movements, aerial intrusions, and gray zone tactics is quietly exchanged to improve situational awareness across the Luzon Strait. Radar stations in northern Luzon have reportedly picked up PLA fighter flights circling near Taiwan's ADAs. Philippine assets relay this data not just to the US, but increasingly to Taiwan's defense command. Beijing's expansion isn't just a threat to Manila or Taipei, it's a regional tsunami. Both governments worry about China's cabbage strategy, slowly surrounding and choking off access to key waters without firing a shot. Faced with intensifying Chinese encroachment at sea, the Philippines increasingly sees its national security as intertwined with that of Taiwan, and is quietly ramping up both formal and informal engagement with the self-governing island, including on security, according to government officials, defense analysts, and diplomats here. This marks a significant departure from Manila's conservative approach toward Taiwan and could pave the way for the Philippines, a U.S. treaty ally, to play a bigger role if China makes good on its threats to invade Taiwan. Any force projection of China within our area is a matter of extreme concern, Philippine Defense Secretary Gilbert Teodoro said in an interview Thursday. While Manila still observes the One China policy, stipulating that there is only one Chinese government, the People's Republic of China, the fates of the Philippines and Taiwan are increasingly enmeshed, he said. It would be hiding from the obvious to say that Taiwan's security will not affect us, added Teodoro, who recently endorsed a Japanese proposal to view the East China Sea, the South China Sea, and the Korean Peninsula as a single theater of battle. China and the Philippines have clashed with rising intensity in the South China Sea, a strategic waterway that China has claimed in its entirety over the competing claims of 6 other governments, including the Philippines and Taiwan. The number of Chinese vessels in waters off the western coast of the Philippines has increased markedly in the past year, along with cybersecurity attacks, espionage, and other threats emanating from Beijing, according to the Philippine National Security Council. The Philippines is entitled to negotiate its relationship with Taiwan in response to these changes, Teodoro said. This may anger China, but in Manila's experience, previous attempts to appease its powerful neighbor have gone nowhere, he added. Philippine President Ferdinand Marcos Jr. in April loosened decades-old restrictions on government personnel engaging with Taiwanese officials and issued a directive allowing visa-free entry for Taiwanese nationals, changes that Taiwan had sought for years. Officially, the Philippine government said this was aimed at boosting Taiwanese investment and tourism, but in interviews, officials said it also serves to support a push by both governments to increase security cooperation, which is further along than publicly disclosed. More recently, in response to the deployment of advanced American missile systems in the Philippines, Chinese Defense Ministry spokesman Zhang Xiaogang said Manila has tied itself to the U.S. war chariot and become a co-conspirator in destabilizing the region. Philippine officials say they are aware that some countries in Southeast Asia, including Malaysia, which currently chairs the Association of Southeast Asian Nations, are uneasy with Manila's newfound rapport with Taipei, which they fear will draw the region deeper into a potential US-China war. But there's widening consensus among Philippine policymakers, including from cautious factions of the foreign policy establishment, that the country has no choice, said Don McLean Gill, a geopolitical analyst and lecturer at De La Salle University in Manila. If there was a way for us to look the other way, we would, said Gill, but as things stand, we'd be kidding ourselves not to see the necessity of working with Taiwan. There are more than 150,000 Philippine migrant workers on the island who would need to be evacuated in the case of an invasion, along with nationals of other countries fleeing southward. The Philippines' mutual defense treaty with the U.S. means the country would probably be involved in any American military response, analysts say. In 2023, the U.S. secured access to 4 new military sites in the Philippines, 3 of them on the northern island of Luzon. Philippine officials have not said whether they would allow these sites to be used as a staging ground for a defense of Taiwan. But it's a contingency that has to be plotted out among partners, said Rommel Jude Gayong, a professor at the Ateneo School of Government in Manila and a retired Rear Admiral in the Philippine Navy. Though the 2 Philippine officials said they were not traveling in their official capacities, they spoke to local reporters and were described in the Taipei Times as a high-profile delegation from the Philippines. Diplomats from both governments were caught off guard. In a strongly worded letter, which has not been previously reported, Philippine Foreign Secretary Teresa P. Lazaro said the 2 traveling officials had not acted prudently. These actions caused severe diplomatic complications that could derail current efforts under the guidance of the president to stabilize our bilateral relations with China, she wrote in the July 4 letter to the heads of the Philippine Defense Department and Coast Guard, a copy of which was obtained by the Post. While there are clear inconveniences in the relationship, there is momentum driving closer ties, said Wang Tingyu, a lawmaker from Taiwan's ruling Democratic Progressive Party and a member of the parliament's Foreign Affairs Committee. Strategists from the 2 governments want to increase cooperation between their coast guards, including by carrying out joint patrols. They also want to increase intelligence sharing, particularly on Chinese ship activity, as well as Chinese cybersecurity threats and espionage, officials said. Until recently, the relationship between Taiwan and the Philippines could be described as close strangers, geographically proximate but diplomatically distant, Wang said. No longer. The strangers, said Wang, have started to smile at each other. Despite the Philippines' One China policy, back-channel meetings between Filipino officials and Taiwanese defense strategists have reportedly taken place in Japan, the US, and Southeast Asia, laying the groundwork for practical cooperation. Washington is quietly supporting this convergence. US Indo-Pacific Command sees value in creating a northern-southern buffer across Taiwan and the Philippines, creating a double wall against Chinese naval movements. In the event of a Chinese strike on Taiwan, northern Philippine bases may serve as launch points for evacuation, intelligence support, and rapid logistics. Some analysts even foresee a future where Taiwan could stage surveillance missions from Philippine airstrips. China has denounced any cooperation between Taiwan and other nations, calling it interference in its internal affairs. In recent months, PLA Navy ships have been increasingly present in the Luzon Strait. From Chinese water cannon attacks to drone flyovers, the pressure is rising. But with joint awareness and shared interests, Taiwan and the Philippines are quietly forging a new defense line in the Pacific. As China ramps up its aggression, informal coalitions like this may become the new normal. Flexible, unspoken, but powerful, and they may be the key to keeping peace in a sea on the edge of war. In the shadows of giants, 2 democracies are standing together silently, watching, subtly resisting, and quietly preparing for what may come. Do you think the Philippines and Taiwan should formalize their cooperation? Will this hidden partnership provoke Beijing or help deter it? Share your thoughts below, and don't forget to like, subscribe, and follow for more real-time geopolitical intelligence.